Football Manager, a game I play every year, and every year I try to do a career save. This year I've tried to make myself ideally exactly like I think I am. So that's UEFA B licence, Sunday League reputation, loaded up a ton of leagues, and I'm going to see how far I can get through in this career. As usual, I've started off unemployed, and I try and apply for as many jobs as possible. After a lot of rejections from Wigan, Chesterfield, and some other club, I tried a cheeky application with the New Zealand under-20s, which strangely enough was accepted. As surprised as anyone, I am now the manager of the New Zealand under-20s, with very little to look forward to other than the under-20 World Cup in 2021. Surprisingly, New Zealand have I was surprised at how good some of their young players were. The first thing I did was check to see what the senior team was doing, how they were playing, their formation, their preferred style, and I decided to match that. No idea if that reflects in game or not, but in my mind, it does. You know, if you're going to play for a national team, if you're going to manage a national team, if you're going to do the youth team of that, then there's going to be that progression towards a style. New Zealand like to play a possession football with a 4-3-3 with a defensive midfielder, so that's what we went with. First two games were against Morocco and the Ivory Coast, so just picked a few players I thought looked pretty good, used the assistants' feedback on them, went with the 4-3-3, and basically played. The matches themselves, well, we won, surprisingly, according to the press. A few standout performances, but other than that, these were just friendlies, building up a little bit of familiarity with the players as we head towards the Under-20 World Cup in the future. Matthew Garbett had the honour of scoring the first goal under my managerial regime. A great header. Overall, he had a great game. He was bombing it down the wing, putting in the crosses, so it was lovely for him to score a goal as well. The match ended 2-0 to us, the press. Very surprised as we headed into our second game. The game against Ivory Coast, same formation, swapped a few of the players around. Expected to lose again. However, we walked away as 5-1 winners with a hat-trick from Elijah Bruce. The next two games were some local friendlies against Australia, local rivalry, and the Fiji Islands, also a local rivalry. The game against the Fiji Islands was slightly disappointing. It ended 2-2. Fiji scored first and we tried to make a comeback, but they held us to a draw. The game against Australia, on the other hand, was a back and forth affair, with a fantastic solo goal from Otto Ingram that helped seal the win for New Zealand. It's the kind of goal that makes you just want to pick the player for a World Cup squad, just in case he comes off the bench and scores that again. Speaking of the World Cup, the group stages were drawn, and this is what they looked like. In Group A were the Burkina Faso under-20s. Group B, Haiti. Group C, Australia. Group D was China. Argentina was in Group E, and Brazil was in Group F. England in Group A, Netherlands in Group B, Colombia in Group C. In Group D you had Ghana with China, and Germany and Argentina drawn together in Group E, and Indonesia, the hosts, were in Group F. Mexico, Group A, Tunisia, Group B, Honduras, Group C, and New Zealand were added to Group D, South Korea, Group E, Ivory Coast, Group F. Uruguay round up Group A, Uzbekistan Group B, Spain round up Group C, the current holders Ukraine were added to Group D, United States in Group E, and Group F was finished with that. So we were handed a tough group. The current holders, Ghana and China. So be sure to join us next time when we pick the World Cup squad and delve into the Under-20 World Cup itself.